I like to know what I can figure also is going to be coming in. And if I can't depend on social media to do that, I can't. An email list is the only way to do that because building a list is like building a safety net. Well, hey there, my friends. Welcome back to the podcast. Coming to you from the frozen tundra of Kansas City, Missouri, where we got 11 inches of snow yesterday. Turns out we've only had that much snow 4 times, like in a 24-hour period, 4 times in the history of like ever. I mean, since people started making notes of things like that, of weatherish types of things. So we are, crazy temperatures, lots of snow, city shut down, kids are at home. I just was boiling some eggs and I'm getting distracted even telling you about the story of how I got distracted, but then I got distracted doing a coaching call. Then I'm in the middle of the coaching call and I smell burning eggs. And I just would like to also make note that it's the fourth time. Is that a coincidence? I think not. Fourth time that I could have started a house fire by boiling eggs. When I tell you guys on my social media that I can't cook, I mean, I can't even boil eggs because I get so distracted that I forget. And I started an alarm for 20 minutes for the egg boiling. Maybe you go 22, maybe you go 18. I don't know. I go 20. And my alarm went off, but then I silenced the alarm because I was in the middle of a coaching call. And then a few minutes later, like 30, I smell burning eggs and I'm like, what have I done? What have I done? Now, thank gosh, this time the eggs did not explode all over my kitchen ceiling because they have done that 3 times. Three times. So fourth day we've had this much snow. Fourth time I've almost started a house fire with boiling eggs. But here's my point. My point is, if I can build a multi-million-dollar year coaching company being this distracted and a donkey on the edge, then you can too. Okay, so there, we're just gonna start with that. All right. Here's what we're talking about today, though. We're going to talk today about why I honestly think that your future business depends on you and the health and size of your email list. That's what I want to talk about. Because I think for the longest time, we have focused so much as business owners on social media that we have really ignored or downplayed the importance of the email list. And I think that it is such an essential asset to the health of your company and to the future of your business. From several different points. So I want to talk about those so I can like persuade you somehow to grow your email list this year. Okay. If you listen to, I think it was my last episode, was it episode 502, where I talked about like 5 things that I really stunk at in 2024 when it came to my business. Growing my email list was one of those things. Yes, we grew it over 11,000 people, but it wasn't enough. And so we're going to work on doubling that in 2025. And hopefully, by the time you listen to just these 3 short points that I have, I will have convinced you that that too should be one of your like main priorities for the year. Okay. All right. Let's talk about your email list. Okay. When it comes to your email list, I really need for you guys to start thinking about like the long-term benefits of having a list, all right? Because what your list does is it provides like so much stability to your business. It provides a lot more control than social media does, especially during like weird times if for you personally or weird times economically. Your list is going to be more let's see. How do I describe this? You're able to predict the outcomes from your list much easier and much more accurately than you are from your social media. Because the truth is, social media platforms, they're just freaking unpredictable anymore. Okay. They're unpredictable in a lot of different ways. I mean, some of you may or may know that TikTok is on the chopping block. I don't think that they're going to get rid of TikTok in the United States within the next couple of weeks here in the US. But it's quite possible because that ball has been in motion coming from the Biden staff, which started with, the Trump staff before that, because TikTok is, China owned. There's concerns about leaks, all the things. So, right. So that feels to me like an unstable platform. If you have built your entire business on TikTok, like you've got to figure out another plan, man, because that is unstable, unpredictable, possibly unsustainable for the long term. And so, like, it's not just TikTok though. I mean, algorithms change, accounts get suspended. I have a friend who's in the aviation industry, and her Facebook page got taken down, and she was, in the process of moving from doing like private pilot work to um, doing like helicopter tours and things, and she lost her Facebook page for no particular reason, because that's what happens the majority of the time. There's so many users on social media, you guys, that it's not like Frank at Facebook decided that you need to be, in Facebook timeout. No, it's a machine, it's an algorithm, it's something that you have zero control over. And also, since it's not Frank at Facebook, why Frank? I don't know. But since it's not Frank at Facebook who decided to take down your Facebook, it's not also like you can call Frank and be like, hey, why did I get suspended on social media? And so, again, it's just so unpredictable to build your entire business on social media. You've got to think long term at like, I'm not just doing this business to make money this week, this month, or even this year. I'm doing this to make a company that is going to be profitable this year, next year, the following, until I decide that it's, done or over or what have you. But email lists, like, they're way more resilient to economic downturns. They're way more resilient in terms of consistency upon the, percentage of people that open your emails, the percentage of people that will click through an email to a link versus the consistency of your reach on social media. Because like during a time like we just had, for the presidential campaign, like reach for most humans who are in business went down. Reach for companies like Starbucks, Coca-Cola, that's different, right? But for us small business owners, like when there are economic downturns, things that are happening in the world that are taking a lot of attention, which, I mean, turn on the news, that's all you got to do. And you'll see that that's all over the place. Like at least email is not dependent upon how much chatter is going on the internet at any given time. Paid ads, they go up and down in terms of like, this is ads for social media, Facebook and Instagram in particular. But the cost of ads goes up and down depending upon what else is going on in the world. Is it fourth quarter? Are we in an election season? Like there's no consistency there. And so if you are someone like me who likes to be able to have some consistency in my income, yes, I like to launch when we need an influx of cash or something, but like I like to kind of know what I can depend on every month, because I also have 6 figures plus a month of, just bills for my team and whatnot, for, software and monthly subscriptions and everything else. So I like to know what I can figure also is going to be coming in. And if I can't depend on social media to do that, I can't. An email list is the only way to do that, because building a list is like building a safety net. When things go haywire on social media, you have that to fall back on. When your Instagram gets not blackmailed, what am I trying to say? What's it called? A lot of people say when their Instagram is just not showing up anymore. Oh, I'm losing words. What's it called? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. If you're watching me on YouTube right now, comment below. Remind me what the word was. But it's blacklisted. Is it blacklisted? It might be blacklisted. But when that happens on Instagram and you don't know why, like that's not going to happen on email. Okay. So it's really your safety net. And so I need for you to think about like just the long-term benefit of that. Also, there may be times when you literally just need to step away from social media because hashtag life. All right. And when you need to do that, but you also still need to make money, your email is going to be the best way to do that. So let me give you a couple of examples. Okay. 3.5 years ago, my husband Jason was in a terrible cycling accident. The cable company in the neighborhood we live in Kansas City was supposed to be burying a cable in a new part of our neighborhood that's under new construction. Instead, they left a cable lay across a street, the main street in our neighborhood, for over 2 weeks. During that 2 weeks, Jason and I and the kids were in Scottsdale, Arizona, looking at new rental properties, vacationing, etc. We come back home. We had no idea that, this cable was still there. Jason went out on a cycling ride. He was just literally casually driving to meet our friend Richard to go on a ride, and that cable's still in the street, but the covers had come off of the cable and were way further down the block. The cable was no longer laying taut to the ground. It had raised up, if you're watching me on YouTube, you see like a little bit, like you could see under the cable. So when his triathlon bike hit that, it catapulted him off of it, shattered his hip. It was on Father's Day 3.5 years ago. So since then, he has had 3 different hip surgeries to try to Well, they had to do the first surgery to try to fix it. It didn't fix his hip. Then he had to have hip replacement. Then he had to have a follow up for pain. It's just been a mess. When that happened, when his accident happened, like I wasn't able to go on Facebook and talk about needing to sell a course. I had no ability to like form a sentence, make sure I had hair and makeup done, to think of words that actually made sense in a sentence to post them on Facebook. I didn't. So instead, my team was just sending out emails about things that we had for sale so that income was still coming in during that season, but I wasn't having to show up face to camera or posting things on social media. Does that make sense? And my Facebook was taken down years ago. It's probably been 10 years ago at this point for 3 days. My Facebook was in what we call Facebook jail. It was restricted for 3 days, but Facebook did not communicate with me at all. They didn't tell me, hey, Jen, we're slapping your hands for doing XYZ. We're going to put you in Facebook jail, but you'll be out in a few days. So I had no idea Facebook was even ever going to come back for me. At that point, I probably had 300,000 followers, which was major. And so thank goodness I had an email list. You've got to be thinking about building it now because you might need it later. Okay. Long-term benefit, long-term thinking. Okay. I want you to think also just about like legacy. This is point number 2. Um, I want you to almost think of building your email list as like an investment that is going to pay you back and compound over time. And it made me think of like, remember how back when you were like young 20s and maybe you had that rich uncle or something who told you, hey, kid, make sure that you are maxing out your 401k contributions, doing as much as what your company will match. And remember how like now you really wish you'd listened to that rich uncle, which by the way, I started my 401k at night when I was 19 years old. So I did listen to my uncle. It was actually my dad. But or remember like the one time you had an opportunity to buy stock in a company that you worked for? Jason and I talk about this all the time. And like he worked at one point for Walmart, like way back in the day, and had the opportunity to buy a lot of stock, which he had. But then he sold it because he was young. And, we do young, dumb things when we're young and dumb. And now we like wish so much that we had kept that and held on to that and stuff, right? So like your email list can be the same thing. I really need for you to think of it as like a business asset. I don't care if you like email or not. You are not your client, okay? And you have a lot of clients who are like me who buy a lot off of my email list. I check email more times a day than I check social media. And just because that's not your habit, that doesn't mean that it's not your client's habits, okay? So I want you to think of your email list as like a business asset, like intellectual property. I want you to think of it as like physical real estate, and I need for you to nurture it. I need for you to think of how can you get more people on there? How can you take care of them? What kind of gives can you give them? I need for you to think of it as like a pipeline for future opportunities when you're launching things, when you're collaborating with other people, when you're trying to like build relationships with your clients. Like your email list is going to do that. Every time you add someone to your list, this is like a touch point that's going to extend just beyond just being a sale. This is like a potential advocate for your brand. They might tell their friends who tell their friends. And so I need for you to think like long term about your list. This is like legacy building. And your list is sellable. Did you know that? Most people don't know. And I think this probably first, I came to realize this when I went to sell the magic brush back in like 2016, 2017, before I shut it down. I went and I got like a business broker who helps people sell businesses. And one of the things they wanted to know is how many people do you have on your email list? Because if you ever would like to sell your company, your business, your brick and mortar, your coaching business, or whatever it is that you've built, people are going to want to know, like, what do you have for assets? What do you have for a social media? What do you have for an email list size? And so your list is sellable at some point, or will help sell your company. Okay. I wanted to add just one more thing here. Last night, we got our big blizzard in Kansas City yesterday. So yesterday was a fun day of not doing a whole lot. And our family really used the opportunity while we're getting 11 inches of snow to just sit on the sofa. And we watched movies. And Ava and I last night were sitting down and we were painting a plant. Okay. Now go with me here. For those of you that followed me back in my magic brush days, you'll love this. So Etta V, who is an artist, she designed my second book, Get Unstuck and Stay Unstuck, which is the follow-up to Fear is Not the Boss of You. Okay. They like go together. This one is like an interactive, fill it out, coffee table kind of book. Okay. So this cover was designed by Etta V. If you're watching me on YouTube, you can see it. I love Etta V's style of I just love how she does things. I love how she uses bright colors. I love how she uses patterns, and she's got lots of like little polka dots and things. So she not only designed, we paid her to design my book cover on book number 2, but I also purchased some things at Home Goods because Etta V has things in Target. She has things in Home Goods. I think she's worked with Anthropology, but don't quote me on that. But I was in Home Goods a while back and bought some of her home things like for organization in the kitchen, and they are in Bougie on Miramar Beach, our new rental property in Florida. And so I saw on Edavi's Instagram a while back that she had a plant that she painted. It was an artificial plant that she painted the leaves with like her signature designs. And so I looked that up on Pinterest, like how to paint an artificial plant. And so Ava and I purchased a plant at the Savers store, local to us in Kansas City a while back. The bottom of the plant, like the pot, was a disco ball that's pink. And then the leaves were ugly. Okay. They're like green. They're supposed to look like ficus leaves, maybe with like a purple. They just looked artificial. So her and I sat down last night and we were watching TV painting this artificial plant. Okay. So what were we watching on TV? You say, well, I'm so glad that you asked. We were actually, Jason and I were getting caught up on Landman, which I don't know if it's on, I think it's on Paramount Plus. Now, before you write me a letter and saying, I can't believe you're watching that unchristlike video, listen, there are some things that the Holy Spirit has convicted me that I am not to watch, that are not for my eyes. Landman is not one of them. Okay. I am super, and I'm just explaining this because otherwise I will get a DM and I really don't want the DM. Okay. So I'd rather just explain to you now. I am super sensitive to anything of a spiritual nature. I will not watch things that have any, hexes, vexes, any like witchcraft, anything that spiritually is really off. I can't do that. Seances, no. Scary movies, no. Those are all hard passes for me. Landman, cursing, people getting killed, I have no conviction about it until the Lord convicts me otherwise. I'm going to watch it. By the way, it's the same producer of Yellowstone. Okay. So I'm watching Landman. Um, and Ava's in the room with me. And, she's 17. She's old enough to be watching that. And we're painting. And on yesterday's episode, Jerry Jones, I think that's his name, who is the owner of, I believe, the Dallas Cowboys. Gosh, I hope I'm getting this right. He had like this whole talk, you guys. He was talking to this guy that's in the hospital who is like the owner of an oil drilling company. And he's basically telling him like one of the best things that's ever happened in his life. And I believe that this is actually true, is that he was able to run his companies with his kids and that he's built legacy for his family and the amount of time that he got to spend with his children because they work together and that his kids aren't just over for Thanksgiving and Christmas. He gets to be with them every day. Now, if this was just made up for Landman, somebody let me know on YouTube in the comments. But otherwise, I think it was really true. And I actually had Jason pause it and rewind it and play it again because it was so touching and so heartfelt. Jason has Noah, our son Noah Allwood, help him with Fairway Finest, his golf apparel company. Easton does my YouTube channel for my coaching group. And so we right now do have our kids invested in our companies. We're also talking highly about moving property management of our 3 Airbnbs over to one of our children. And so I love that last night Jerry Jones was talking about legacy and was talking about like working with your kids. And here's how this has to do with your email list. Like, even if you decide to get rid of your company someday, what if it's something that you could pass on to your children? What if it's something that they're able to take over somehow? And so, like, have an email list, if not even for you, for them, so that they can continue on with your business. Because we've got to be thinking like long term and legacy about our companies and not just thinking in like, oh, how can I just make a few bucks this month with my small business? Like, what if that small business you have right now has the potential to be that large business that doesn't have to mean you have a huge team or, or it's a huge burden on you. It can mean that it can put a lot of money into your pocket and your family's pocket for years and decades to come. And so build an email list for them. Okay. Third reason. So that was reason number 1 was I want you to think of the long-term benefits. Then I want you to think of like the long-term and legacy thinking. Third thing is I want you to think about your email list in terms of like predicting trends. Okay. Because I do think like having more of a direct relationship with people, it really is like the future of marketing. One of the reasons my business grew to the size that it did in the online space about, when was it that my company went in 2017 or 18 from a $600,000 a year business to over $2 million a year. One of the main reasons is I was so hyper focused on relationship building with my social media. I was face to camera doing Facebook Lives. I was on Facebook every single day. I was posting about my faith and my family, along with the painting company that I had and my coaching. And like that was the future then. But now I do believe that the marketing of the future is more direct relationship. But I do believe we're going to see a swing. This is me and my predictions, a swing away from social media and more towards keeping things in email. I do. I think we're going to see more and more people getting off of social media because I think everything, is seasonal. The Bible even says that to everything there is a season. And I think that we have been on social media enough right now that there's a lot of us who are in business that we're tired. It's been 12 years of us posting every single day on Facebook. And we're really ready to not be face to camera so much, to not be posting so much stuff on social, to post less, but we're going to be using email marketing a whole lot more. I think you're going to see it a whole lot more. I think consumers are really craving still connection, but email can definitely deliver that. I really think that it can. And so that's a third reason I want for you to really be focusing on building your list this year because you need to be putting the time and effort into the things that are sustainable for the long haul. Yes, I almost did just knock over my podcast mic. And the things that are going to be more predictable, consistent, and making your company money for the long term, for the long haul. So if that's you, I am doing a challenge coming up. It is January the 21st through the 23rd. It's called Idea to Opt-in Challenge because a lot of you have started a list, but you don't know how to grow it. A lot of you started a list and you don't know what to actually send said list. I was coaching with a woman this morning. She hasn't sent an email to her list in over 3 months. And I'm like, girl, and I was talking her through like different opt-ins she could make right now to keep growing the list and using the list. And so this is a totally free challenge. It's January 21st through the 23rd. If you go right now to jenniferallwood.com/challenge, you can absolutely sign up. Yes, it will ask you, hey, do you want to get the workbook for this? Nell and Mackenzie always make kick butt, if I don't mind saying so myself, workbooks that go along with any of the challenges I do. So that's a great upsell. As well as you have an opportunity of doing a VIP room with me, which is not free, but worth it. It's where you can ask me questions that I'll be able to, because we'll have thousands and thousands of people that sign up for the challenge. But if you want to ask me a question and have me try to answer that, then sign up for the VIP session. I do pray in that session for business owners, ideas, answers, all of those things as well. So again, that's at jenniferallwood.com/challenge. But those are my reasons, friends, why you guys need to be focused on your email list this year. Times have changed. I'm not saying times are changing for business owners. I'm going to say times have changed. They started changing about 15 months ago in the online space. And if you are not making your email list, the growth of it, a priority, it absolutely has to be something that you do in 2025. So I hope that this was helpful. This was fun for me to be here with you today. Thanks as always for listening. And if you're feeling froggy, forward this podcast on to a couple of your friends, especially if you have, girlfriends who are business owners, who also happen to love Jesus, like send this to them. Hopefully they'll hit the subscribe button. And I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you always being here and listening. We'll talk again next week. Okay. Till then, bye-bye. I haven't done that. I haven't done that for a minute. It's my squirrel. Ready? What do you think, Stella?